Scarifications, also known as tribal markings in Africa. Tribal marks are ancient body modifications used in many African cultures for identification. They indicated social status, age, marital status, or could be tied to religious beliefs, providing protection or conferring special powers, spiritual protection, and beauty. However, in modern times, the practice of tribal marks has faced significant challenges. Globalization, urbanization, and changing attitudes towards body modification have led to a decline in this ancient tradition. In some cases, the introduction of Western values has led to the stigmatization of tribal marks, viewing them as uncivilized or barbaric. While some people advocate for maintaining these marks as a connection to heritage, a growing number reject them due to the painful procedure, potential complications, and the growing global emphasis on a more modern or cosmopolitan image. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sephora Moses and I welcome you to Ink and Tales. Today we are exploring scarifications and the decline of tribal marks in modern Africa. History and significance of tribal marks. Cultural identity. Marks served to identify members of a specific ethnic group or tribe, strengthening community bonds. Tribal marks are part of the African culture and are usually inscribed on the body by burning or cutting of the skin during childhood. The primary function of the tribal marks is for identification of a person's tribe, family, or patrilineal heritage. Some tribes in Africa mark their children for identification. In the past, it was difficult differentiating between tribes during war due to the color of our skin. During wars, tribes are likely to clash with their own kinsmen because we found it difficult telling ourselves apart, and so to solve this, some tribes decided to differentiate themselves from other tribes by marking their children, and these kind of tribal marks can easily identify the tribe you are coming from. Rituals and spiritual protection. Scarification marked milestones like bringing into childhood or fertility rituals. Another reason why some tribes engage in tribal markings is for the sole purpose of spiritual protection. Some tribes believe that when a child is beautiful, the spirits from the underworld would like to have such a child, and so will visit to take them away. Such children die prematurely, and so to prevent the spirit from coming for such children, they mark them to make them unappealing to the spirits from the underworld. Reasons for decline and dislike in modern Africa. Western influence and negative stigma. Globalization and the adoption of Western cultural standards have diminished the importance of these traditional practices. The marks are sometimes seen as a sign of being outmoded or less modern, as suggested by the comparison to tattoos, which have undergone a similar shift in perception. Individuals with tribal marks may face prejudice or discrimination. The modern emphasis on national identification rather than tribal affiliation also contributes to the decline of tribal marks. Issues surrounding tribal marks. Some scholars noted that among various issues surrounding tribal marks is consent. They explained that in the past, many individuals, particularly children, were marked without their consent, as it was considered an integral part of their identity. Today, the debate continues whether the practice infringes on individuals' rights, and there is a growing call for ensuring that the process remains fully consensual and driven by the personal choices of the individual involved. Associated with slavery. Afrocritic publication on tribal marks states that oral tradition holds that scarification in Nigeria dates back to the era of the slave trade, when Europeans adopted people and bundled them in ship like sardines. People began marking family members to identify and recognize them when and if they were apprehended and later found. These permanent marks became methods of identification passed down from family to family, village members, royal lineage identification, and persons from the same lineage. The historical context of being marked by raiders or slave owners during the slave trade has also contributed to a negative perception for some. Pain, complications, and medicinal purposes. The process of scarification involves cutting or piercing the skin, which can lead to infections and complications, making it a deterrent for many people today. Sometimes a person gets a near-death experience, and in order to save such a child, a herbalist may mark him or her, and usually such markings are shot once on the right cheek, and it is fed with medicine to save the child, and also serves as a remembrance to the child about his or her near-death experience. Also, in many traditions in Ghana, when a child is born and dies and it continues for the second and third time, the child is believed to reincarnate, and so when the fourth child is delivered, that child is given a tribal mark that signifies he or she is a slave. Such children, beside the tribal mark, are given nasty names to prevent them from dying or going back to the underworld. Lastly, some now say people are taken aback by the pain and agony, the acts of making tribal marks, stating that we need not make marks on our body. On the contrary, one of the advantages of tribal marks is identity. It adds to our beauty. There is nothing bad in us making tribal marks, some say. For the extremists in modernization, they are the ones that forbid the arts of making tribal marks. There are some things that are meant to be kept the way they are and followed by all means. But there are some things in every culture that will never go with time anymore that you have to do away with. One of them is tribal marks or scarification. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.